In today's series of Hey Thomas, can you also show us some affordable cars? We have today for you the Fiat 600, the bigger brother of the Fiat 500, and you can see it right here. This is the combustion engine one. On the left side in silver, there's the electric one. And that also counts for the Fiat 600 here, the bigger brother. That's both available with the combustion engine and also all electric. And today we've picked the maybe most emotional one, the manual combustion engine, because when Germans do it manual with the shift with the stick, that's definitely a lot of fun. So we will check out what do we get for base price of 25,000 euros, of course some options and so on. What do you get here with the Fiat 600? I'm Thomas, this is Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go here. Exterior with a very round and friendly Italian design. Also then here with these twinkling eyes. Look at that in the front. Today also reminds us of Bentley, because they have a similar headlamp styling now on their new Continental, for example. Then the length is 4.17 meters or 164 inches. So although it's the bigger brother of the Fiat 500, it's still a relatively short vehicle overall. It's front-wheel drive, soon more to the engines and so on. In the rear you can see you have this kind of like a little bit boat design where the lower part is a little bit longer. Modern light signature on the right side, and we'll also check out how much space do we actually get. So there is an all-electric version. You can also check out the specs in the video description and also in the pinned comment. And this one in here is the petrol. And this one is also available in different versions, always with a 1.2 liter turbo petrol engine. And this one here with 100 horsepower and without mild hybrid. And there are also optional mild hybrid ones available with a little bit more horsepower. This one here is 10.6 seconds in the acceleration, so it won't be that much. You can see here, engine cover here also dampened underneath and so on. 12-volt battery right there. And the mild hybrid then automatic, but this one then with the with the gear stick. And it's always interesting to see, because there are hardly any affordable cars anymore out there, and there are hardly any manual cars out there. So as we've just recently filmed for you the Ferrari Amalfi, which was 250,000 euros entry, and this one is 25,000 euro entry. So would you get one Amalfi Ferrari or would you get 10 Fiat 600? Also very interesting question, isn't it? And of course also interesting as for the technology. So this one here is related and also built in the very same plant in Poland, Fiat 600, like the Jeep Avenger and also the Alfa Junior. So they share all the genes and also the availability as electric and as combustion engine. And we'll also soon go for an Avenger review here for you that you can also compare it. Interior, the typical Stellantis key fob, then door closing sounds. Let's say probably they didn't pay too much attention to that at that price. Then here, inside of the doors. This is all hard packs, so all rather basics. Looking at the entry price of 25,000 euros. Fabric inside here, classic controls of the side mirrors and the windows, all hard plastic here. Then we have the steering wheel, which has a leatherette material, and this is actually quite soft and nice. Stitching on the inside, real buttons at the steering wheel. Also the right side, for example, for the volume. Then you have, in this case here, the same decor element to the fitting exterior color here in this turquoise green. Fabric seats, you have fabric seats like these, also here in dual tone scheme. You also have leatherette on the outside available, or a full leatherette would also be available. Of course here the fabric seats would be the most passively breathable ones. And yes, indeed, you've seen it here, 3 pedals, so there's gonna be a manual joy here today. And when Germans drive a manual, that's something. I'll show you. And then here, 189 6x2, still enough headroom left. Steering wheel up and down, in and out. And seating position isn't actually too bad, although I'm 189 6x2. You can also adjust it here then in height. Welcome to the cockpit of the Fiat 600. Here you have one screen in this horizontal format. You have some hotkeys underneath to access the home, or here then the vehicle settings again. And manual possibilities here for the climate and also for the fan speed. I wonder why fan speed is on the right and temperature on the left. I don't know, but volume also manual. Then again, this fitting green decor to the Mare green. And the glove box is interesting because that whole thing goes down. Look at that, more like a tray, and then you can also easily access it. That's unusual, but interesting. USB-C and USB-A, one's for connecting, one is for charging in the middle parts. Here's some space. And then here, look at that. This is the manual. And this looks like from a sports car, right? You know, like could also make it an 8-ball design, you know. So that's pretty cool. First gear, second. And shifting is actually quite nice. I have that clutch pulled, by the way, just if you wonder. And then here, fabric cover for the armrest, some space underneath. This one, it does fall down, but it's a little bit break by this fabric on the side. And then here in the middle part you have some Tetris-like splitters for the cup holders. We've recently seen it in the ID.3 as well from Volkswagen. And you can adjust some different sizes right here. Then the driver POV here once again with real buttons on the steering wheel, digital instruments very deep in there, then with this retro styling on the exterior, horizontal screen. So what is interesting is that you have here the vehicle settings, and then when you press and hold that one, you can automatically have a shortcut to deactivate the EU speed chime law. That's the thing. Otherwise you would connect Apple CarPlay and Auto, but it's kind of slow and sometimes tricky to get the connection. Then the rear seats, hardback here, everything at the inside of the doors. The seats themselves are actually quite nice with the fabric here, ISOFIX outside. USB-C charger has one central, but yeah, not too much legroom when the tall person is driving. That's not the, I mean, it's still a short vehicle. Yes, you have more space than in the Fiat 500, but still, it's not a long vehicle overall. Headroom is actually no problem. Even fits tall Ls, just here the limit in the legroom. And there's not too much to do here. You can even sit with 3 here. Well, if you want that. Trunk boot at 385 liters. So let's take a look here. This still fits underneath vertically. Then we have about 1 meter 40 inches in width. The length here is 30 inches 76 centimeters. Underneath there's some space here and a little bit more underneath there. Yeah, it's a little bit more limited than with the electric version, for example. And this one you can also put in here in the little bit lower position like this, and then for total height we have to put that one here away. There we go. Sometimes you have to use the force, young Padawan. And then here 31 inches 80 centimeters in height in the lower position, and the total length to the seats as I'm driving, this is 58 inches 1 meters 46. Let's start driving the Fiat 600 reverse gear first. Because I want to show you the rear view camera, which is not the best resolution, honestly, a little bit blurry and stuff, so can't expect too much from it. And we start here in the B road. We can show you some acceleration. I'm not like doing a launch control, but it's not too bad. Yeah. That's actually not too bad. And yeah, this already feels like rally racing then here now with the Fiat 600, smaller car. Bumpy B roads here, almost feel like in rally Germany, you know, which also goes, well, along the Mosel region usually, but here the Rhine region, but also famous for its vineyards. And yeah, manual gearbox is already a lot of fun, can play a little bit with the clutch. Then here, I promise it, when Germans play with the manual, then we like to play it hard, right? So this will be continued throughout the review, and I just can say that the manual gearbox here is really crisp and sporty, and I really like the knob here on top of the shifter. That is pretty cool. So that brings sporty fun here into the Fiat 600. We have the larger 18-inch wheels on here, but it's not a stiff or sporty suspension. It's rather soft for more comfort. That also fits the vehicle. Also looking forward to when we drive the Jeep Avenger, or the Jeep Avenger. To look at the pronunciation as the German, of course. I also learned that when you spell Avenger, then that the R is differently pronounced between British English and American English. Yeah, strange things, but it's maybe like in German and Bavarian, right? So here now, countryside road. drive a little bit quicker, and of course clutch it, lower gear, then you have a little bit more power. I mean, considering the figures of 10.6 seconds in the acceleration, I would have imagined that it's worse in the acceleration actually, but yeah, it's actually not. Still fine. It's okay for most use cases, and here you can also put it to the higher gear. Here not too loud so far, at about 90 kilometers an hour. That's fine. And these bumps on the road are also evened out very nicely. Steering, it's not the most precise one, gotta say that. It's okay. Also, you don't need too much force. It's more set on the comfortable level now, but it's not like the sporty, precise steering wheel as for that one. Wow, that's a big truck for the small road here. Ooh, but still not too loud. Now here, harder on the brakes. Still fine. You can very well dose these brakes here. That's no problem. And also, when you shift back, you don't have like a big resistance in the manual gearbox. So honestly, a little bit surprised. Positive. Oh, there's a Fiat 500 and the Cinquecento, and this is here the Fiat 600, the Seicento, from the original Italian names. So really happy with the manual gearbox.
Buongiorno to all the Italian fans here.
Buongiorno. Mille grazie to all our Italian fans out there, of course. And I hope they also are happy to see some Italian cars, like recently with the Ferrari Amalfi and now with the Fiat 600 here. And yeah, there we go. Here in the city, the steering is actually quite nice. Maybe just a thing here on the countryside road.
What was the thing here?
Ah, yeah. Press and hold, yeah. And now, oh, the interesting
nice
paint
color.
there. That was custom wrap for that Audi convertible there. I think it was an A5 convertible there probably. So happy with the manual gearbox. And then here, front wheel drive with that 3-cylinder. It doesn't sound too bad, you know. That's sometimes the thing, that the 3-cylinders sound better than the 4-cylinders somehow. Here now, of course, when we're going uphill, then I need to go second gear. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, then you directly feel like in the last Fast and the Furious movie. Yeah, I mean, manual gearbox is always a lot of fun, even though it's not especially handy in a traffic jam or something like that, you know. But it's a nice little city car at that size, and it is actually fun to drive, you know. So, I mean, you see, like, we do have fun here, so why not? Seating position here for tall adults is also not too bad. It's not really uncomfortable. The fabric material is also fine. Here, that's something you also maybe then learned when you start driving with a manual. When I was starting to drive cars, there were only manuals in Germany. I mean, then there was like, oh, this guy has a car with the automatic gear. I was like, whoa, really? Oh, 4-speed automatic. And it was like, you know, everyone was driving manuals. So you also learn to do just that. Yeah, at that time in the US, all the cars were automatic already anyways. And then sometimes when you're approaching a traffic light, you're using the engine brake with the manual. You don't use the rear brake, but you put maybe like in second gear, then let the clutch come like a little bit and use the engine brake as for that. And to me, it's always especially fun when you're like going from third to fourth or back, because that's just like the straight way, you know, and it just gives like this somehow satisfactory feeling doing that. But maybe I'm too much car nerd for that, you know. So yeah, there is also the electric version for this one here, the Fiat 600. It will of course be smoother. It will be more responsive to drive and so on. But this one here, the important thing that you can stay low in the price and really have an entry level of 25,000 euros, and here then 28 with some of the extras. So yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to how the Avenger is driving in comparison towards that. We can now also head to the German Autobahn and see comparison. There's an Avenger. Was it a Compass already? Ah, that was a Compass. Yeah, they're pretty similar, and then you pass to the side, you see, wait a minute, that was the bigger one of that. So sometimes you can also miss that by first judgment, but that's also the thing, that the car manufacturers, of course, want to make their lineup very consistent in design. on the cost of that you can hardly differentiate it, actually. When I want to shake up the car here, still stays relatively calm. I would wish for a little bit more precise steering, but maybe that's not the focus of the vehicle. But overall here on the countryside road, it actually drives better than you might expect, because the Fiats are not necessarily known to be driving machines, but it is surprisingly fun. And that's maybe something they are also still keeping as leverage in comparison to the Chinese vehicles, because they push the market with crazy prices, with crazy interior quality. Interior quality wise, this one cannot catch up again to the Chinese competition. That's clearly the case. But in driving here, this one would still be better, like how it behaves, all the development and engineering which has evolved over the decades. You even feel that in the Fiat 600 that it drives actually very well. Very calm, very settled on the road, and you just know what you get. And now, German Autobahn, let's go! Oh, come on! Yeah! It's so much fun. Yeah, and we really mean that. It is a fun car to drive, and it doesn't look like that it's like has a focus of fun in driving and so on, but it really is, and that's a cool surprise here to me. So and it feels really solid. And most astonishing thing is really that it is here close to that 25,000 euro entry price, and you could imagine going with that one here even on holiday. It has enough space. Maybe not for the whole big family or something like that, but if you go with 2 people or maybe one child or something like that, that does work, So, and then you have to think about always keeping price performance in check. It is so important that we still have affordable cars that are still decent to drive, because not everyone can afford 50, 60, 70,000 euro for a car, or like 600, 700 euros leasing rate per month and so on. And to me, that's good feeling that you also can get affordable cars which are still decent in the driving. And here at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, still not too loud on the exterior. Here, this is a motorway that's also somewhat rough here from time to time. It's fine. You can even go here to the 6th gear if you like, for better fuel economy, or for example here when rolling down, it's not using so much fuel then as for that. Here, lane change at these speeds doesn't shake up, still feel safe. That's also fine. Then from the steering, you have some basic cruise control here, so that would be actually inbuilt, and that's it. But honestly, at that price, with that car, you don't really need much more. You could set it to a limiter, for example, as well, or then switch to the cruise control again, and that's about it. So it's actually doing fine on the motorway. And I would have imagined that it's also louder on the motorway, but it's actually not, So yeah, actually in driving, it is a pleasant surprise here today with the Fiat 600. Let's see. Oh, there's a German Blitzer, like a speed camera hidden behind the sign. Yeah, of course. Why would you make it open that everyone can see it, right? It's all about the money. Money. And then here, yeah, in the corner, not so bad either, right? Even fun. Oh, yeah, there's our X3. It's not a plug-in though. But the it's the M Sport, and then it's the Dune. It's called Sand Dune. So yeah, Dune Grey. It's called at BMW. The color that we have on our personal vehicle here. Yeah. So, what do you think about here our driving part of the Fiat 600, guys? And the fuel economy. So 36 mpg US, 44 mpg UK. Some 6.6 and 6.5 liters on 1 kilometers. It's not the best, of course, for the small vehicle. This one here, now in situation city traffic and some countryside, like 80, 90, 100 kilometers an hour. That was our driving case here for today. It can be better, of course, with the mild hybrid engine. Then you would especially save some fuel in the city. But again, then you're also not at that lowest entry price. So as I said, 25,000 euros is the entry price, also here with the manual gearbox. However, we had some equipment here with this icon trim and the paint and so on, and then we end up at 28,000 euros. But that's still in an affordable region, considering that nowadays car prices start usually at about 50,000 euros for most vehicles, you know. Yeah, and they will get competition also from the Chinese brands, of course, also internally, because Stellantis got Leapmotor into their own house basically and have a share in them, so they will also keep fighting for customer satisfaction basically. Tell me what you think about the Fiat 600. And you know, there are the brothers of the Alpha Junior and also the Jeep Avenger, and we'll also test that one for you as soon as it's online. We'll also link it.